Welcome back to the Phoenix Project channel. Today, we are diving into one of the most complex and heated topics in international relations, the regional security in the Middle East. But we are not just throwing around headlines. We will break it down using something called the Regional Security Complex Theory, or RSCT. So, what does that mean? And why is the Middle East so volatile? And finally, how do states like Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Israel all interact in ways that affect global peace? Grab your coffee and let's get started. Welcome back again. This is Dr. Mohamed Fareed, and let's begin with the basics. RSCT is a theory in international relations that looks at groups of states whose security concerns are so closely linked that you cannot understand one state's behavior without looking at its neighbors. Think of it like this. If you tug on one thread in a spider's web, the whole thing moves. That is how security works in some regions, and the Middle East is a prime example. So, a regional security complex, or RSC, is basically a cluster of countries that are connected by shared threats, alliances, rivalries, and conflicts. The Middle East is not just a region, it's a security puzzle. It includes countries from Egypt to Iran, across the Arabian Peninsula, Levant, and often Turkey. Sometimes North Africa is included as a subcomplex. But here is what matters. These states aren't isolated, they are deeply interdependent when it comes to security. So, when something happens in Syria, it sends shockwaves Iran, Turkey, Iraq, and beyond. That's what RSCT helps us analyze. Let's paint a picture of the current situation. Multiple conflict zones like Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Libya are all suffering from instability. State rivalries run deep, especially between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Non-state actors like Hezbollah and Houthi and ISIS are active, and there is external power involvement from the United States, Russia, China, and others. And finally, economic pressure and political unrest, and you have got a region on edge. Let's meet the player now. Egypt, big population, strong army, major diplomatic influence. Saudi Arabia, oil giant, religious heavyweight, leader of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Then Iran, revolutionary ideology, regional network of proxies, nuclear ambitions. Turkey, NATO member, strong military, assertive foreign policy. Then Israel, high-tech military power, at odds with much of the Arab world, especially over Palestine. And then Emirates and Qatar, small but rich and politically active in unique ways. And we cannot forget non-state actors like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthi in Yemen, ISIS and Al-Qaeda remnants in Syria and Iraq. Finally, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza. All of these actors from a tangled web of alliances, rivalries, and proxy wars. What are the main sources of conflict? 1. State rivalries. The big one, Iran versus Saudi Arabia. They fight proxy wars in places like Yemen and support opposing sides in Syria. Turkey is playing its own complex game and multiple actors. And then Egypt tries to act as a stabilizer, especially in Gaza and Libya. Source of conflict number 2, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, still unresolved. It affects Arab-Israeli relations, regional alliances, and even global politics. Source number 3, sectarianism. Sunni versus Shia divides are often politically exploited, especially by Iran and Saudi Arabia. Source number 4 of conflict, terrorism. Groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda exploit weak states to gain ground and launch attacks. Source number 5 for conflict is resources. Water scarce, rivers like Nile and Tigris-Euphrates are flashpoints. Oil and gas are major points of connection too. Source number 6 for conflict, internal instability. Many countries are dealing with corruption, poverty, youth unemployment, and weak governance. And source number 7 for conflict is nuclear proliferation. Iran's nuclear ambitions are a global concern. Missiles stockpiles across the region raises alarm bells. Now, here is how it all connects. Example number 1, Iran versus Saudi Arabia. They support opposite sides in Yemen. That conflict fuels sectarian hatred. Maritime shipping in the Red Sea is threatened. The United States and Europe get involved. Oil prices spike. Example number 2, Syrians' instability. ISIS resurges in the power vacuum. Jordan, Turkey, and Iraq feel threatened. The United States, Russia, and Iran intervene. Millions flee, causing a refugee crisis in Europe. This is security interdependence in action. The Middle East is not just a regional story, it's the global battleground. The United States, longtime security player. Allies include Israel, Egypt, and Gulf states, balancing terrorism threats and energy needs. Russia, major player in Syria, sells arms and counters the United States' influence. China invests in energy and infrastructure, avoids military entanglements for now. Then Europe, concerned with terrorism and migration. Historical ties shape their roles. These powers act as mediators, patrons, or spoilers, often adding new players to the regional conflict. RSCT gives us valuable insights. It shows how no state acts alone. It explains long-standing hostilities like Arab-Israeli tensions. It maps how one conflict spreads across borders, but it has limits. It focuses on states, so it struggles to explain the power of groups like ISIS and Hezbollah. It doesn't fully capture transnational ideologies like Islamist or Pan-Arabism. It cannot always explain how global powers shape local outcomes. Still, RSCT is a powerful tool, especially when used alongside other lenses. Understanding security in the Middle East isn't easy. It's messy, emotional, and deeply complex. But by using regional security complex theory, we can begin to see the patterns, the threads that link wars, alliances, ideologies, and global interests together. And the more we understand, the better our chances for building smarter policies and maybe even peace. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe for more geopolitical breakdowns, and let us know in the comments, what is the most surprising thing you have learned today? I'm Dr. Mohamed Fareed. See you in the next episode.